Hi everyone, it's Beth Murphy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be away so long. It's the J part wants to do everything a certain way, and when I can't do it, sometimes I won't do it at all. And I have also a lot in my head and a lot going on. Not bad, just rents and tenants and moving and I don't even know there's so much in there. I'm not usually that stuffed that I can't have output. But if it's not there, it's not there. So anyways, I wanted to complete one small thing because I know this won't take me very long and I'll still get that feeling that I'm doing it to its completion because it's a very, very short story. But it goes with a big story that I haven't had time to tell yet, and it's my waking experience, and lots of people have these. I think it's just nice to compare stories, so that's why I would like to tell it. And then I also feel like if I put it out there, somebody might find it that is on the beginning of theirs, or maybe it hit them and they didn't know what it was, or even if it's just a curiosity. So that I just want to make sure I don't forget anything because it was 10 years ago. And I know that because if you're on Facebook, it'll kick up memories for you just randomly. And it kicked up a post that I made at like the top of that experience. Well, right when it kicked off and I was at my highest point where, I'll explain it. I think it'd be better in the whole story in itself, but I'll just say I was at the top point of that. And it's like I didn't even have my introvert part. Because I post things that I would never post now because I was just high as a kite and I didn't care about anything. But they were wise and loving things, And so it kicked up one of them and it reminded me, and it was, 10 years ago because it was July and I knew that. It's just weird to think what that was 10 years ago. 10 years is weird. And then he kicked up another one. Probably because I took that one and I sent it to my friend Jill, whom you know from my videos. We still hang out. My Infj friend. And so it served me another one from that week, which now that I think about it, that is kind of weird. They don't usually do that. But I actually needed to hear what that post was, and I made it. When I was as high as a kite, which is the way I keep saying it, I was so wise that 10 years ago me was talking to the me right now at this point, and I was actually giving myself advice in that post that they rebooted. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because I don't think I would post that now. It was just, I'm just more guarded, and you have these phases in your life, and that you might hear other people say this too. When you have that awakening experience, if you do have that surge, the way it comes, you don't stay that way. You couldn't stay that way. This is why they treat people for mania. You can't stay that loving and connected. Your feet are not on the ground at all. It's not why you came to Earth. So I just, that's for a month or so, I was just, before I kind of came back to Earth, I would post a few of these things I would never do now. But, getting to my point, that the short story within that story that I will tell, my friend Yara made a video on YouTube about walk-in type of stuff. And that's kind of a cool thing. I've heard that there are just true walk-ins are very rare. I think Byron Katie is one of them. If you if you ever find any old literature like about her story, it's pretty cool. The reason I think she was one is because her family didn't really recognize her. And a walk-in is like when your soul checks out and another one kind of taps in. And it might even be like probably a version of yourself anyway. But they'll come in and they won't always have the same memories. And they might, the people that know them well know something's different. So there's that I've heard that there's just rare, that's a rarity. So, but walk-in, when my friend made that video, I thought, oh, I think I can kind of relate because I never put words to this experience, but what she was describing kind of felt like something was going on with me. And now when I look back, placing this experience in the middle of my awakening experience, I feel that 10 years later, with the more knowledge that I have, I get what was happening. It was my higher self was joining me, more of me. So let me tell it how it was back then. It's 10 years ago. I was in the middle of the awakening anyways. And I was driving alone. And I was, in that happy state, which I'll describe in the bigger story. I was in that happy, feel amazing state. And out of the blue, while I was driving, I felt, and it's hard to describe. The best way I can describe it is I just became aware that more of me had now joined the me that I had had for my whole life. So that means, that means I was 36 back then. That means I had 36 years of me, and then all of a sudden I felt the presence of more of me, already me, like joining me. I just knew that some of me is here that wasn't a minute ago. And that's the best way I can explain it, but it is, that is what happened. That is exactly what happened, even though, you can't tell that to everybody. But if that happened to you, you're probably going to be overjoyed because maybe you never heard anybody say that. But so again, now that I'm older and wiser, I look back and I think, oh, okay. Because we all have these awakening experiences and more of us are going to have them. And then it's in an overall upgrading for everything that we all share together. And that would be including the world that we live on, that we've all shared through our collective consciousness. We're all getting an upgrade, and you may hear about it in the spiritual community. They'll talk about a shift or lots of different things. And it even tweaked into some religions. It worked its way in there and got kind of told the way they tell it. But it tells the story of an ending of something and the upgrading, like a new version. And I'm saying that happens to the macro and the micro, and the micro would be us as individuals. I already had that. I don't think anything else is going to happen for me for the rest of my life. But I do think other people are going to have that awakening experience. So I will want to tell that story. And I've even watched people wake up that didn't even know or care to name it. So, it just depends. I mean, it depends. I even think that what mainstream refers to as a midlife crisis is probably some awakenings. And I also think some mental illnesses are having to do with that as well, especially bipolar. So that's why I'm not ready to tell that story, because it's just so big, But anyway, that was that little part I wanted to talk about, because I told my friend Yara that I would, and it was kind of a little interesting piece. It was a little weird. But it made sense because this is how you have more of you joining you. You know, you're this is what I think is going to happen when we die. People say it's like stepping into another room. I think it's just going to be more of you. Or they'll say it's like waking up from a dream. You know, you just wake up and be like, oh, I thought that was real and all there was. And now here I am in my fullness. I have this and I have the memory of that. So I think that's kind of what is happening to a lot of us, is you're just waking up to more of yourself. All right, so that's that. And other than that, yeah, I don't know. I'll probably put my videos back on. I just took them off. I just kind of needed to check out for a little bit. But my INFJness, it comes up all the time. I mean, I was talking to one of my a new tenant today, and I can spot her, and I cannot wait for her to take my test. I actually think she's an extrovert, one of us. So I have to know if I'm right. And she's just amazing, and I love her, and we're instant friends. And I just feel so blessed to be who I am. So I'm going to continue to talk about that. And I always like to talk about metaphysical type stuff. And that's about it. I don't really see the point in creating. I don't like talking just to talk. People have things to do, you know. I don't mean me, I mean you. Like, I can't understand why you'd want to listen to me. So, unless it's just a reflection of yourself, kind of hearing someone else, you know, that thinks like you is comforting, I think. But thank you. Some of you guys have said that. Other than that, you have to know, like, YouTube is like, it's like, you know, in the movies when they're interrogating someone in the glass, the double-sided glass where you can't say out and everyone's looking in at you. That's what this is like for me, you know, as an introvert. I don't know how INFJs have channels and they just crank stuff out every day. I really don't. I mean, their introvert percent has to be a lot lower than mine, I'm thinking. Well, mine's not that high, though. I don't know. But anyway, so that's that. The awakening will come when I get my head in a nice, clear place. And other than that, gosh, sometimes I want to talk to you guys, and I write something down, and I can't remember what it is. Well, you talk to me, because then I won't feel like I'm in that room. You know, you guys can comment. I just took off the little thumb thing. But you're always welcome to comment. That way, if someone's nasty, I'll just get rid of them. All right, thanks a lot. It was nice to talk to you. I have to use my imagination that you're there. And that's it, I guess. All right, see ya.